Overnight faced its most intense drone attack since the war began. On Monday, at least 479 self-detonating drones were launched by Russian forces across multiple Ukrainian regions. This barrage, coinciding with ballistic and cruise missile launches, lasted for hours and tested the limits of Ukraine's air defenses. Of the 479 drones, 460 were reportedly intercepted or neutralized through electronic warfare. The assault primarily targeted Kyiv, Rivne, and the western city of Dubno. Ukrainian officials described the night as one of the most brutal since the invasion began. In Rivne, authorities reported one injury but refrained from giving full details, citing ongoing assessments. Dubno, they said, bore the brunt of the strike. This spike in aerial attacks comes just days after Ukraine launched an unprecedented strike on Russian air bases. The Kremlin's response appears swift and calculated. Friday's retaliation was already intense, but Monday's overnight assault shattered previous records in volume. Amid the chaos, Polish fighter jets were scrambled as the attack pushed close to NATO airspace. Poland's armed forces issued a statement, underscoring the broader geopolitical tension this war continues to provoke. At the same time, both Kyiv and Moscow initiated a prisoner exchange. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky stated that the swap would unfold in phases. The first group involved wounded soldiers and youth under 25, signaling humanitarian dimensions amid ongoing combat. But the battlefield is evolving too. Russia claims it's pushing into the southeastern Dnipropetrovsk region. Although Ukrainian officials deny any such advance, the Institute for the Study of War supports Kyiv's claim, suggesting that Russian movements near Sumy and Donetsk are part of ongoing tactics rather than the start of a new offensive. Still, these attacks show a broader shift in Russia's strategy, from territorial gains to infrastructure disruption and psychological warfare. By flooding Ukraine with drones and missiles, Russia is attempting to overwhelm defenses, strain resources, and send a clear signal to Western allies. NATO has taken notice. At Chatham House in London, NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte called for what he termed a quantum leap in defense capability.
History has taught us that to preserve peace, we must prepare for war. Wishful thinking will not keep us safe. We cannot dream away the danger. Hope is not a strategy. So NATO has to become a stronger, fairer and more lethal alliance. A stronger NATO means spending much more on our defense. All allies will reach the initial target of spending 2% of GDP on defense this year. That was a pledge made way back in 2014. Now we have a concrete plan for the future. We know what we need, and we know what to do. At the summit in The Hague, I expect allied leaders will agree to spend 5% of GDP on defense. It will be a NATO-wide commitment and a defining moment for the alliance.
He proposed a 400% increase in air and missile defenses across member states. His warning, the threat from the skies won't end when the Ukraine war does. From the battlefield to the diplomacy table, the war is evolving rapidly. New technologies, global alliances, and regional fears are all in play. But the message from this week's drone siege is clear. This war is far from over. Ukraine's resilience continues to hold, but so does Russia's aggression. The next phase of this conflict may not be decided by tanks or trenches, but by what happens in the skies above. Stay tuned.